What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Post Pro Podcast. It is episode 19. School is in. Movie theaters are open. And we have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
I'm just going to throw it to you, Sebastian.
So, this is the DC special. Coincidentally, I picked Watchmen for the week's pick, and then I totally forgot with everything that's happened. DC Dome was going on, which was DC's virtual Comic-Con. And I watched the whole entire thing, and they had a lot to bring to the table. And I think Marvel has officially been killed. I'm kidding, but so I'll start off. There's a couple things about the Flash movie, nothing insanely important. They just showed off his new costume that Batman made for him, and that was about it. They didn't really talk about it. That's it for Flash. Black Adam has been in the works for like a decade now with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on. They've been trying to make this movie even before Shazam, which is kind of funny to think about because Black Adam's a Shazam villain, and they were trying to do it without Shazam. But anyway, besides the point. So they finally showed off, and The Rock talked about it, and it sounds pretty great. They have a lot of cool characters. It's not even really going to be a Black Adam movie. It's going to be the Justice Society of America. They have Black Adam. They have Hawkman. They have Dr. Fate. Adam Smasher, all these really crazy kooky. Adam Smasher. Yeah, no, he can grow. He's like DC's Ant-Man kind of. He grows really big.
The trailer kind of sucked though.
Well, it's not really a trailer. I mean, they don't have any footage.
Yeah, it wasn't a trailer. It was a Mortal Kombat character reveal.
Yeah, no, because they haven't filmed the movie yet. They were supposed to, and then COVID happened.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even drop the trailer at that point.
So, it wasn't even it wasn't a trailer. It was just showing you like what to expect from the movie, dude. Because they're titling it a trailer, but it's not really a trailer because it's not really the movie. Because
teaser. Let's call it a teaser.
I mean, yeah.
Sure. they're just showing you like what you're to expect in the movie. So I mean, that's fine for me. I that's fine for me. Maybe not for you, but like
okay.
I was hype on that. I mean, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's like the perfect Black Adam. He looks like Black Adam. He's built like Black Adam. I think it's great, and he's really passionate about it. And the whole panel, he had a lot, like he really did care. Like it's pretty evident he cares about the character, and I'm excited. I'm excited, especially for Dr. Fate live action.
I do like Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate's really cool. Like to see Dr. Fate on screen, it's be pretty dope. Anyway, so that was cool to see. Finally, is happening this next year. They're going to start filming. Wonder Woman was the first panel. I don't really have much to say about it. I think it looks good. I'm excited. They showed off Cheetah, and she looks way better than Cats. So I think that's off to a good start.
Man, I mean, it may be better than Cats, but
CGI wise,
better than Cats, better than Cats, right?
Yeah. I mean, Cats kind of set the bar like here. Cheetah was like here for me.
I need to see it.
I think Cheetah looks good. I think Cheetah looks good. I am a big Wonder Woman fan. I have Wonder Woman on my wall. So I don't know. I think Cheetah looks good. She doesn't really look comic accurate, but I think I like the look that they went for there. Gal Gadot.
Do the special effects look better than the first Wonder Woman?
I would say from what I've seen, yeah, it's more stylized. I mean, I'm not going to say Cheetah CGI is like the best I've ever seen, but I think it looks all right for what it is, and I'm fine with that because I don't think she's going to be Cheetah the majority of the movie. I think she's going to become like full Cheetah near the end of the movie. So we'll see. Because Maxwell is going to be like the main villain of the movie,
which I was looking forward to. I don't know.
I mean, I love Pedro Pascal, and from the new trailer, he looks pretty charming. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on from Wonder Woman 1984, we're getting into the Hallelujah, the Justice League, the real movie. It's here. It's coming. It's happening. And
the miniseries.
Yes, the Justice League 4-episode, 4-hour miniseries, and it also, me personally, I'm really fucking excited for it. Been waiting to see what Zack Snyder really was cooking up, and I'm finally going to get to see it come to fruition. And again, I'm not expecting it to be amazing. I'm expecting it just to be better than what we got. That's really all I'm looking for.
I like that they're doing a miniseries. I think that should translate better to what he's intending.
Yeah, because with like Batman versus Superman, that probably would have worked a little better as a miniseries too. But
just because how big in scope it all is.
Yeah. because that's why Justice League failed. They tried to shove so much shit in one movie, and it just didn't work. So we'll see. They showed off a lot of new footage that it is pretty evident that it's way different from what we got. There's like a shot of Barry Allen, and Saving, I think, is Iris West. So I think they're building on. That's kind of what the whole trailer was showing. It was like, this is all the shit I wanted to show you guys, but I didn't get a chance. There's like Flash is getting a backstory which is good because he's getting his own movie. Cyborg is getting his backstory, which was thrown out as well. So there's a lot of stuff that they just wasn't in the Joss Whedon cut.
Their backstory was like in there, but
no,
there wasn't a lot.
There wasn't really a lot. It was just like, oh, Cyborg. But that was my main problem with Justice League. Yeah, Justice League was like,
all right, get back to the interesting characters.
Yeah, it was
like get back to the people we're paying.
Yeah, but it was like I like Cyborg a lot, and he was just there. He didn't really do anything.
Tell me that was your Catwoman, or not Catwoman. Tell me that was your Cheetah reaction.
Yeah, holy cow! Yuck. That was gross.
I think it'll be okay. Trust me. I think it'll be all right. I think Kristen Wiig's going to do a really good job. I honestly do. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be bad, but I mean, that looked bad.
Yeah. In my opinion too.
We'll see. We'll see.
I agree. Better than Cats.
That's all I was saying. I didn't say it was great. I was just saying it looks okay. It looks
better than the first cut of Cats.
It looks fine. Okay. It looks okay.
Yes, Thomas, we understand your point.
All right.
Also, trailer CGI is like notoriously worse than like the CGI that's in the final movie. I don't know. It's not really worth.
That's very true. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just thought the trailer was good. I haven't seen the movie. I can't really say anything yet. I thought the trailer was good. So anyway, on to the juicy scoop of the week. Batman.
The Batman.
It looks fucking fantastic. It is everything I have ever wanted in a Batman movie. And I'm not saying Nolan's movies are bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just have been waiting for DC to remember what DC stands for, and that's Detective Comics. We're getting Detective Batman and Robert Pattinson. It looks like he's going to kill it. I mean, on Vengeance, that was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty
dark.
It was pretty great.
Will say I didn't really love most of the trailers, but oh man, that Batman trailer.
It's good. Yeah.
I'm so excited for it. I mean, Colin Farrell, Paul Dano too. Like, those are two actors that I hear they're. Yeah, I mean,
I really like Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon too.
Yeah, I like that too. I
think it's a great casting.
Is it Andy Serkis too, right?
Yeah, which is the most bizarre casting.
Yeah, it's 100% out of everything. That's definitely the most bizarre.
I think he's gonna do well with it.
He could. Yeah, I'm not saying it's like a bad casting choice. It's just
no. Trust me. When I heard that too, I thought it should have been Andy Serkis as Penguin, and then Colin Farrell was Alfred. That's what I thought. That's
much more obvious.
Yeah,
Alfred's just older.
Well, I know, but like, I feel like Andy Serkis it would have been an interesting Penguin because of like his line of work.
Yeah. That would have been an interesting.
Well, and then seeing the new trailer, I still think that because they put all of that makeup onto Colin Farrell, it's like, well, why couldn't they have just done that for Andy Serkis? Yeah. He would have just been ridiculous.
They're trying to get their second Oscar for hair and makeup. Suicide Squad and the Batman.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's.
But I think everyone here agrees it looks pretty great, and
I'm really looking forward to like the year one-esque storyline.
Year two.
It's going to be year two.
That's what I was just about to get into. So the panel leading up towards the trailer literally was like a 25 minute conversation with Matt Reeves, and he just talked, he answered fan questions and talked about it. And he's really passionate about this, and this is why I love the Planet of the Apes movies. His trilogy I think is great. I think it's definitely one of the best trilogies ever, in my opinion. I think all of them are great. And that alone kind of sold me. And then just seeing it and then just hearing him talk about it, it's really evident that this is like a passion project for him, because he went into immense detail about Batman lore and shit. I'm like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. And I'm very glad he's directing it. And it's year two Batman. They're not doing an origin story. This is not an origin story. None of that shit. Maybe we'll see his parents die in a flashback or something, but not an origin story. Not an origin story. Because I'm pretty sure everyone on this planet knows what Batman's origin story is at this point.
Right.
So, is it confirmed? Does that have a rating confirmed?
I'm thinking it's going to be R. When he beat the fuck out of that guy, that gave me really rated R vibes. I'm sorry.
I feel like they're gonna find a way to make it PG-13 because their
You don't
box
think so?
office.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
No, their box office would be exponentially better at PG-13 to R.
I disagree.
That's debatable.
Joker.
You look at Joker, you look at Deadpool.
You want everyone to talk
no,
about that?
well, I mean,
Sorry, dude.
okay, maybe not exponentially.
Joker made $1 billion
but-
worldwide, dude. $1 billion.
I mean, I agree,
Rated R.
but I feel like this one, like, with the hype around it, at PG-13, it could be like a $2 billion.
They haven't said
instead
yet.
I mean,
of
there's-
$1 billion.
There's
I
nothing
don't
really in the trailer that suggests that it like needs an R rating, which means that
I
the probably goes
I
to
do.
PG-13.
I think they are suggesting your R rating. That's just me because that Batman scene was brutal, and on top of that, they're going with Riddler is a serial killer like type vibe,
Yeah.
and it gave me like that
I mean-
7 vibe. And I don't know, I got rated R like just moments from the whole trailer. We'll see. I think it's gonna be rated R. I don't know. What do you think, Collin? I think they're going for a gritty vibe. I think.
I mean, I have no idea if it's going to be like. I mean, I don't know. It could go either way. You know,
That's kind of where I'm at, honestly.
Yeah.
if it shows its violence and gore like with blood, then it's going to be rated R because
Yeah.
like The Dark Knight's a really dark movie and it's PG-13 because it didn't show a lot of blood. So
There's definitely a way that they can make
I
it
don't know.
PG-13, and if they keep
Right.
the same integrity and like the same soul, then I think it will just make more money than if it was rated R. Like, because the rated R idea is that pulls more money because they're like, oh, look at this, we're okay with it being rated R. But PG-13 just brings in the teenage crowd, and I mean, hopefully COVID would be done by this point, but like in the pandemic scenario, teenagers are way more likely to go out and be more risk-taking.
Yeah.
In this sense, right? Where in that case, they're the ones that are going to go to the theaters and
All I'm
spend their
going to
money.
say is I think it's going to be rated R just from the trailer. And then a lot, like my background right now is like the poster that they came out with. The theme of it is red. So I don't know, man. They were really like pretty evident on the red tone. I think they are going to embrace like blood and violence because the trailer to me personally gave me off the vibes that they might. But then, you know, when he beat the guy up, they kind of panned away and they didn't show it. So again, it could go both ways. Either way, I'm still fucking excited for it. I know it's going to be good regardless, but I kind of hope that they do.
Comment
embrace
down
the rated
below:
R.
is the Batman rated PG-13 or rated R?
I just really hope they embrace the
making
rated R.
interacting with the audience.
Yeah.
We see it, Colin. We
Our
see
fans,
it.
Yeah.
I really do think it would benefit from a rated R rating. That's just me personally, because Batman is really not a PG-13 character. I don't know. I would like to see a rated R version. That's all I'm saying.
So do you have more, Sebastian?
Oh yeah, I've got some more news. Don't you?
Oh,
worry.
yeah, we're
I've
not
got
even a
lot
quarter of the
more.
way done
We're
yet.
not-
Come on.
We're not even done yet. DC Dome is concluded though. That was the and icing on the cake because I'm not going to talk about the video games because it doesn't matter.
Oh,
So,
I was just going to bring up real quick. I'm actually kind of looking forward to both of them.
Well, they're
I think
not
they look pretty solid.
movies. I mean, they look good,
Yeah.
but they're not movies. You know.
Hey,
so.
we can. I mean, hey, we don't.
Yeah, we spent like half a podcast, like 4 podcasts ago, just talking about like life. And I think that was one of our best podcasts.
We'll mention it real quick. Okay, we'll wash over it and we'll move on. So Arkham is getting a continuation in the Suicide Squad game, and I think it looks good, but no
Yeah, I agree.
gameplay yet.
No, there's been gameplay. There's like 10
no.
minutes of gameplay out there. Yes.
Not of the
drop in
Justice. No, not the Suicide Squad game, homie. It's of the Arkham. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
Arkham Knights game.
you said Arkham.
Because the Suicide Squad game is a continuation of the Arkham series.
Oh,
Right, aren't both of them continuations?
No,
I'm not really sure.
Arkham Knights is not.
wait,
Suicide
when
Squad, yeah,
no.
trust me, I know what I'm talking
when,
about.
I mean,
when
I know
does
so
it-
don't
no,
know.
no, no, when the Arkham series does Brainiac come up?
Listen to me. I
Okay.
watched the whole thing. I watched all 9 hours of the panels. When they showed off the Suicide Squad Justice League thing, they literally said right before they showed the trailer, they said this is a continuation of the Arkham series. It takes place in the same universe as the Arkham games. But Arkham Knights does not. It's in its own timeline. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
But the trailer for Arkham Knights opens up with the end of
Batman does not die at the end of Arkham Knight.
Oh. Wow.
He fakes his death. So the whole city thinks he's dead, and then he has the fear toxin take over his job. That was the whole point of Arkham Knight. The fear toxin in Azarath.
Massive spoilers for anyone watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Saying
like
this is supposed to happen.
and then,
Oh yeah,
and then,
my bad.
And then in the Arkham series, Barbara Gordon dies. She can't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
She
My
can't.
bad.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Trust
Wait,
me.
in the
I'm the-
Arkham series, Barbara Gordon dies?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
she doesn't. It was
she
fake,
does.
remember? It was fake. I'm telling you it was fake.
No, she died.
It was
I
fake,
have
just like
no
Batman's
idea.
death. The fear toxin took
I'm
over.
gonna unplug real
This is
quick.
Cat, by the way. This is Cat. No, I agree with you though, but
Trust
I
me.
don't
I know
remember
what I'm talking
Brainiac
about.
ever. But yeah, you're good.
No,
You're good.
it's just taking place in the same universe, but it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
continuation. Trust me.
Okay. Yeah,
And
you're
then-
good. You're good.
anyway,
I believe you.
But I'm more interested in Arkham Knights just because, I mean, Court of Owls is my favorite Batman arc of all time. And to get to see that in something is pretty great because they can do a lot with that. And I honestly think it's going to be cheap weighted for them to bring Batman into the game because they're going to go – I think they're going to go and say, like, oh, Batman,
Lazarus.
he is – oh, no. He's going to be a Court of Owls, like controlled by the Court of Owls, and then he's going to be a boss or something, and then you get him back. I think that's what they're going to do.
Probably something like that.
That's-
I don't know.
that's
The
what I'm
gameplay footage looked really good.
I
So
think it
I'm
looked
I'm
good.
looking
A
forward
lot of
to
people
it.
are complaining about it, but I think
Really?
it looked really good. Yeah,
Oh.
a lot of people thought the combat was stupid because of the RPG, stuff. But
Oh,
anyway, nothing else to really say about DC. That was it. That was all that they really showed. They showed the 2 games. They showed off all the movies and some tidbits and panels. They had some really annoying Wonder Woman panel that I just honestly like kind of zoned out on. It wasn't even for the trailer. They had this random one that was like in the middle of everything, and it was just them like talking about set moments, and it was just really awkward and cringy. Like it really was. It was pretty bad to watch. That was my least favorite panel of the entire day. Everything else was stellar, though. I think DC going forward is on a roll. Oh, last bit of information. I swear this is the last thing about the DC Dome I'm going to say. So they also confirmed, and this is what I think is going to give DC kind of an edge against Marvel, that they confirmed the DC multiverse is real, and that Batman, the Batman movie, is going to be in Earth 2, and then that the DCEU is going to be in Earth 1. So everything going forward is going to be in Earth 1, but the Batman, depending on how successful it is, it's going to start its own multiverse.
so it might start its own multiverse. Was anything retconned in Earth 1?
No.
They don't have to, right? Like nothing
No.
didn't really.
They literally
Doesn't
like
make
if
any
DC just wants to do like another standalone Joker movie or something like that, they could just be like, oh, this is Earth 20 or this is this.
Yeah,
it has
for
nothing
sure.
to do with anything.
Mhm.
And they said, and then they confirm like Joker isn't even on its own Earth. It was just a movie they made. It has nothing to
Yeah.
do with DC.
Yeah.
But anyway, thought that was interesting just because the Justice League trailer shows off Flash going through the Speed Force, so it's definitely
Flashpoint.
evident that
I saw that.
and then Flashpoint's supposed to be the Flash movie, so they're definitely building towards the different multiverses of DC. So I think that's pretty awesome. So we'll see what happens. 2021 is going to be the year of DC. So
Yo, they're
And
gonna
Michael
bring,
Keaton will be returning, right?
yes, Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck. So we're going to have 2 Batmans.
Hey, all I'm saying,
Well,
if
wait,
it's
yeah.
Flashpoint, Michael Keaton's returning, Jack Nicholson returns to acting for Flashpoint.
He's too old.
I
mean,
know. That's obviously a joke.
because
well,
his
yeah, I
character
know.
is dead and Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson is famously retired. I'm sure he'll come back for a movie. That
Yeah,
sounds like great.
especially for Flashpoint. Like,
Yeah,
no offense
exactly.
to DC or anything, but I don't think that's Nicholson's big return.
Yeah, well, Nicholson's done, man. But anyway,
Yeah.
so DC Dome, that's it. I'm done talking about it. Anyway, on to my little belated movie news. Just a couple things. Me and Collin, we'll talk about a little bit. Had the pleasure of returning to the movie theater and seeing a masterpiece called Unhinged, starring Russell Crowe. And so far, it has made $4 million. If that doesn't show you how low the box office is right now, it's pretty bad.
What was
So,
its budget?
Yeah, what was his budget?
let's take a look, huh?
I'm going to say
I'm saying it's a 33 million.
35, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Probably because of Russell Crowe.
Bill and Ted has a $25 million budget. I think it's going to make all that back like that. They played it smart. They played it really smart, Bill and Ted, in my opinion. We'll see. I think that's going to be like.
Yeah, they're also doing VOD, so
Well, that's
we can
why
hope.
they played that really smart. I think that
It might not be profitable, but it'll probably be like the closest thing to profitable that we have during COVID.
yeah,
At least like
Trolls
released in
2
2020.
was super popular or profitable, right?
yeah, for the kids.
I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I kind of forgot about that.
That was
And
the
then,
big one.
Tenet is out. in some countries, and a lot of people have seen early like critic screenings of it. And I'm not going to go into detail because I haven't really read them, but I know it's very mixed right now. And Tenet made $717K in Korea, which not awful for Korean movies, because Koreans don't really like U.S. movies. I mean, Peninsula is the big bucks over there right now. So we'll see. I have tickets for Tenet. I'm seeing it next Tuesday. We're recording this on a Monday, so I'm seeing it basically a week. I'm very excited for it. We'll see. I know everyone here is going to see it eventually, but I will have my first thoughts on it. No spoilers, but I will be talking about it next time we do get together. And then,
I wanted to mention one thing real quick. When you guys mentioned Trolls, I was just curious. So I looked up the numbers on Trolls. Its budget was 90 to 110 million, and it only made not even 16 million back.
Oh, really? Oh, Jesus Christ.
And considering how popular it was probably like the most popular over this period. That's not good.
Yeah.
That
still didn't break even, though.
And so also, just to quickly mention, because we're talking on the topic of Tenet, today at work, from some insider investigative knowledge I got, I heard that there's rumors that if Tenet underperforms, Warner Brothers might push back Wonder Woman to next year. And because those are projecting to be the top two of the rest of this year, if Wonder Woman gets pushed back, then they might just cancel movie theaters again for the rest of
yeah.
2020.
How are they gonna make money? Like,
I have no idea.
I showing classics and doing all of the things that we've been talking about.
But the classics will definitely.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think Tenet's going to underperform really, really bad.
It is going to, yes. It might overperform based on our current expectations, but it's definitely going to underperform if you're just looking at the numbers.
Yeah, I don't think Tenet is going to be the movie to get everyone going to the movie theater. I mean, a majority of us are going to see it.
Mixed reviews right now.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to have a 3.6 on Letterboxd.
I saw that as well. Yeah, a little surprising. Wow. But I mean,
it's polarizing. I read one. I only read one review, and he was basically saying it's going to be Nolan's most polarizing movie to date, and it's not for everybody. I've heard the first hour is very weak, so we'll see. I will let you know what I think, but I'm excited for it. I am really excited for it, but I'm just worried about it and future of this next year in movies. But that's really all I have to say. DC Dome, DC Special Post-Pro podcast is now concluded.
Damn.
Great. Yeah.
Get your DC Dome coverage here.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
Oof. That was a lot of information to throw in.
Anyone else have anything? I have one or two.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Sure. To my Reddit saved. Oh yeah, this is a big one. So Ethan Hawke joins Bjork, Nicole Kidman, Alexander Skarsgård, Anna Taylor-Joy, Willem Dafoe, and Plas Bang and Robert Eggers' Viking epic, The Northman.
Oh, that was something I wanted to mention. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So that'll be cool and epic. That's a stacked ass cast with a stacked ass filmmaker.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Have you seen any of Eggers' movies, Noah?
I mean, we've all seen
Lighthouse. Yeah.
I have not seen The Witch, mostly because I've heard it's more actual horror, but I'll probably watch it eventually, honestly.
It definitely is. I'm really looking forward to The Northman. With that cast.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
clearly Dafoe likes working with Eggers. It was pretty evident in the panels they did too. So.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty great that he got him back. I mean, I kind of expected that anyway. Just again, what William Dafoe was saying about Eggers and how great of a director he was and how much he liked working with him.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm just really excited for Ethan Hawke.
Crazy Viking Dafoe. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Hawke probably the most, but also Bjork is such a strange. I mean, not actually strange, but I don't know.
Honestly,
it's just an interesting
recognize his name.
Casting choice. That's good. Bjork.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen him in something.
That's
I don't know. Has she done any acting?
Bruh, this is a moment.
Yeah, she's worked a lot with Von Trier.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh, wow. Huh.
I was it's probably not. Yeah, I know she has acted before.
Dude, I thought
sure,
this was going to be some big burly like Viking man, and I like go to Letterboxd and look her up. It's
the singer.
Never heard of her.
What was your second piece, Thomas?
PTA started shooting his next film, Soggy Bottoms, starring Bradley Cooper. An ensemble featurette seen in the 1970s.
What a name.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's PTA.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely see it when it comes out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, time to watch Punch Drunk Love another 5 times before I see it, though. Yeah, I mean, I've been really loving Bradley Cooper recently, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, Bradley Cooper is directing a movie at some point too. I remember he announced it. Again, COVID kind of fucked that one up,
Yeah,
but he was supposed to be doing another music biopic on somebody. Again,
Oh, right. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
that sounds familiar.
again, I'm impressed with him too. I think he definitely is actually a pretty solid director.
he's been showing up recently. Well, I haven't actually seen A Star Is Born. I've seen pieces. Yeah,
I love The Star Is Born, and it's mainly because of the acting and soundtrack.
Yeah.
But like, he does a very good job, and that was his first directing. He does a pretty solid job of directing, in my opinion.
It's a really strong debut.
Yeah, again, great. So I am excited to see like what he does forward, because he has kind of been keeping it.
Yeah, it's a biopic about Leonard Bernstein.
Leonard
Leonard.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The composer.
Bernstein, what is he?
Oh, really?
As you can see, folks, we do not look up anything beforehand.
Yeah, we're very professional.
Leonard Bernstein, he did tons of Broadway musicals.
Cool.
It'll be good. And then one of my coworkers at work was telling me about this Michael Jackson fucking movie that won do you know what The Blacklist is?
Yes.
It won The Blacklist this past time, and it's about a movie that takes perspective from Michael Jackson's Monkey Bubbles.
What is Monkey
Okay.
Bubbles?
No, it's okay. That's Michael Jackson's Monkey, and it's a movie literally that's set from the perspective of the monkey about Michael Jackson's life.
I thought Monkey Bubbles was some obscure reference. And I was like, what is Monkey Bubbles?
No.
Monkey,
Like his actual
bubbles.
Yeah, the Monkey Bubbles, and it's about
insane.
Michael. Yeah, I don't like it. Won the Blacklist, apparently.
Wow.
That alone sounds fucking crazy. I don't even know how they're gonna translate that to a movie. It sounds ridiculous.
Andy Serkis returning to motion capture as Bubbles this time. Andy Serkis is Michael Jackson's monkey.
Again, and then I was thinking about how are they gonna do a movie about Michael Jackson with everything that's been going on with Michael Jackson. What are they gonna do? The monkey sees like what he's been doing at the fucking.
Oh no, dude!
Maybe we'll get to
monkeys in the room.
Maybe we'll get to see. Maybe we'll get to see Michael Jackson audition for Professor X in X.
Bro.
Yes.
Banks.
Wait, yeah, he do Jar Jar too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
I forgot about that.
Bro. Oh, that's insane.
Dude,
You know what? I'm on board.
All right. This is enough movie news. Did anyone else have movie news?
No.
Let's get moving on.
All right, I'll go first this week.
Let's go through these quick.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be quick. Do. All right, I finally got around to 20th Century Woman because Noah kept pestering me about it being annoying, being a nuisance.
Well, how was it?
No, it was good. It was good. Yeah, it was really good. Sweet movie. It's like one of those movies that like feels very heartwarming, but at the same time is incredibly cold. In a sense, yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
I don't feel that way personally, but I see how you could.
Yeah. And like almost has to do with the ending, but also it's one of those times where
I don't think I just heard what you just said.
You turn into Optimus Prime real quick.
Right, the ending. I was about to say I feel like it kind of has to do with the ending in a sense, but
like the ending is cold. You think?
I mean, maybe
no, I definitely see what you mean. I think honestly. Okay, so it's sort of like Tree of Life, where it takes like a weirdly like detached look at these people's lives, but like it gets me much more invested in them than Tree of Life does. And obviously it's like different from Tree of Life in a lot of ways. I'm just, I guess I'm just saying it's like a look at some people in the past and how they lived. And it definitely is like a lot more emotionally invested and more conventional than Tree of Life. But yeah, like especially the ending, I guess it gets a little like certainly the narration like is detached in a way that, but like it makes me cry like both times that I've seen it, like a lot more than most movies normally do, and a lot more than most endings do, certainly.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's like, I mean, that's what my horror review said, like one of the few times where like the ending consists of, and this is where they are now, and it like actually works, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, good movie. I mean, I recommend it. I still need to put it on my A24 list. Rewatch Being John Malkovich with my family. Man, I love that movie. It is so fucking weird, but
what do they think of it?
Well, my mom saw it in theaters. My sister was weirded out.
Sounds like her.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Collin, that you mentioned a lot about Kaufman's like self-loathing for his characters, and the main reason I thought that this one would work so like better for you was because I felt like it just played so comedically into it, where the self-loathing didn't really feel as like such a big dramatic point, but more so as like an enjoyment factor.
No, I agree. It didn't bother me like near as much as it did like in Anomalisa, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But and I did say when we talked about this before that I did enjoy Being John Malkovich quite a bit. It's just still by the end I just didn't really care about anything.
We just got breaking news.
Oh, all right.
They just
announced a deal with DC.
It's Batman. They just announced more Batman casting just now.
Oh, is it the one that I said before the cast started? Is it Dunkirk Kid?
Yeah, Dunkirk Kid's in it, dude. Yeah. I just saw it. I was like, holy shit, Dunkirk Kid, let's go! Anyway, continue.
All right, yeah, we'll keep going. We went on Inception in theaters together in IMAX. That was pretty sick, besides the fact that I really had to pee, and I thought I was timing it well to, like, get around some exposition.
You fucked up, dude.
I fucked up. I'm so upset about that. Like, I got back, and someone said that to me. I, like, sank in my seat.
I told you that.
Collin said it to me, and I was so... I thought I was like timing it around exposition. I thought it would be like after I got back.
I remember I saw you get up and I was like,
you should have taken a piss. You should have taken a piss like when the first dream started, like before they got into like the main like dream.
I took like 3 pisses.
I know, you went to that like 3 times.
I don't know, dude. My fucking bladder's fucking up recently. This is the weirdest thing to say during the podcast, but I don't know. Bro, I'll be like standing at the register like 2 hours into my shift. I'll be like, yo, I gotta go pee. And then like an hour later, I'm like, yo, like I haven't touched water or anything.
Clearly, you learned nothing from being on Door.
Okay, Door, yeah, Door's different though. I'm taking Publix a lot more serious.
Let's wrap this up.
So, Inception.
Yeah, Inception. All I really want to say was that like, I've been rewatching a lot of like my 5 out of 5s on first watches. Did I just lag out? Did I lag out there?
A little bit.
Yeah, but we understood you.
Yeah. And like most of these 5 out of 5s that I've been like rewatching have like kind of lowered to the point where like, yeah, I still like the movies. I still think they're good movies, but they weren't like as like groundbreaking to me. And didn't like still hold the same like strength that they did on the first watch. I don't know if that's me getting more critical or not, but like for example, Inception, Anomalisa, and American Honey all got lowered from 5 out of 5s. But yeah,
I'll just we'll talk about them when we get to mine.
All right. And then went to the theater again and saw Back to the Future, and I mean, good movie, classic. Funniest moment in that movie wasn't even in the movie. It's when the Chuck Berry scene happens, and my friend who's sitting next to me, who doesn't really like care that much about music, he went, "Wait, yo, is that someone I'm supposed to know?"
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I feel like I had the same reaction, and probably all of us did when we saw that for the first time when we were like 10 years old.
Yeah. That's fair. But
I guess Collin hasn't seen it.
Oh, spoilers! I'm sure you've seen the scene.
I don't know.
Oh, huh. All right, I'm good. And then
it still hurts that he hasn't seen Back to the Future. It hurts me every time.
Okay.
Someday I will.
How have you not seen it? It's so fucking good. You've seen Looper and you've seen all these other time travel movies, and you haven't seen Back to the Future.
I've seen I've seen parts of every movie. I've just never seen them in whole. Right?
You've seen parts of every single movie in existence.
Yeah. No, well, shut up. Okay. I'm going to stop this and we're going to come back.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So, started off this week with continuing my Anderson rewatch with the Royal Tenenbaums, which, I mean, great, honestly. I didn't really remember how funny it is. I think it's maybe Anderson's funniest. If not, it's like really, I don't know, really high up there. Not my personal favorite, but still like really, really great. Probably top 3 or 4. Watched About a Boy, the Kristen Paul Weitz film, for the first time. Fun, I guess. Not really a lot to say there. It's a very like early 2000s premise-based rom-com, and I mean, like, you might go in expecting it to be like bad, but it actually does like interesting stuff with the premise, and it is like it works as a rom-com on its own. Although it's less of a rom-com and more of a like person discovering themselves, and also there happens to be a romance, but the romance isn't really a huge part of it. Watched Dog Day Afternoon for the first time, which was not disappointing at all. It's like a profoundly and deeply empathetic film, which I wasn't really expecting, and it's I don't know, like it just plays out perfectly. I guess like my main note was that it was like really empathetic and a lot more like heartfelt, which I guess kind of makes sense when you think that the director also directed 12 Angry Men, and you're like, oh, well, that's pretty emotional too, from what I remember. I haven't seen that in a really long time. But yeah, I mean, really surprising. Pacino's really good. Everybody's really good, but you know, Pacino is the only person who's really like still famous, I guess. Watched V for Vendetta for the first time. Honestly, a little disappointing, but whatever. Also kind of, like for me personally, I'm kind of burnt out on like a bunch of comic book movie stuff. So I've just been watching
that's why I like V for Vendetta. It's not really like an average comic book movie. That's why I like it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different in a lot of ways, but it's still, like, I don't know, my main hang up, aside with Natalie Portman's character not really making a lot of sense to me, but that doesn't really matter to me, honestly, is just that, like, it's still, I don't know, like, it's still, like, about, like, mostly just about Hugo Weaving as V. Like, it's still about one character who is, like, vaguely superpowered, and even though it, like, sort of disabuses that notion by the end, and the messaging is, like, you know, it takes more people to start a revolution than just, like, one superhero. I don't know, like, just a lot of the movie is still focused on, like, him and what he's doing.
I don't think it's like amazing, but I do like what it's saying. Like I like its message, like, honestly better than the movie. I like what it says at the end of the movie. Right. I do.
Obviously. It's good. Yeah, me too.
Comics great.
Yeah, sure. Haven't actually read it, but anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, didn't hate it, honestly, which I guess kind of my initial comment made it sound like I did. But yeah, just didn't necessarily.
I agree. Yeah, it's not the best like comic book movie I've ever seen. Also, the comic is one of my top 5, but the comic's way better.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Rewatched Life Aquatic. Next on my Anderson thing. One of my least favorite Andersons, but the ending, like the last 20 or 30 minutes especially, are like really, really solid. Although honestly, you could probably say that for like most Anderson endings. Watched The Birdcage, which is like a fun comedy that holds up surprisingly well for being about
great movie.
Yeah, for being about like the gay owner of a what do you call it? Nightclub, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's funny and didn't really make me like, I don't know, like, I guess maybe that's not exactly the word.
Robin Williams is just.
Yeah, no, Robin Williams is surprisingly great, and he definitely is funny in it, but he never, like, there's never a scene where he, like, does, like, a huge comedy routine or anything. Right, exactly. Like, he never does his thing, and he never even does, like, a huge comedy thing. It's, like, a bunch of other people who are more putting him in somewhat comedic situations.
Yeah, no, and
I mean, it's definitely...
Yeah, he plays it so well, honestly. Like, that's why I love it.
Does.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, I was reading.
Whoa!
Everyone talk. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, I was reading the description because I saw it in your diary. I'd heard of it before, but I was just reading. I was like, this got made then. I mean, like, good for them for getting it made, but That's
Well, I
crazy.
mean, it was a stage.
Yeah.
I've actually seen the
Oh, really?
production. Yeah.
Oh, huh. It was fun.
I haven't seen the movie though.
Yeah, I'm just.
You should. It's great.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
it's
good that they put that much like faith in the production for that.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, and yeah, it holds up and everything. And it's written by Elaine May, directed by Mike Nichols, who, I mean, I mentioned Elaine May when I was talking about my game Nikki, but
Huh?
yeah, I mean, like, well-respected people who have done things that are good, and this wasn't really a disappointment, so yeah.
Nice.
World based on the Amy Mann song of the same name. Honestly, I think, like, this is pretty much, like, a good movie that I just wasn't in the right headspace for, and like haven't been for the past like 5 months, because it's about a pair of cynical teens who graduate high school and slowly begin to realize that like they're never going to be able to escape their small town, which definitely isn't reminding me of anything about my life. So anyway, I thought it was fine, but like I definitely would have enjoyed it way more if I had seen this either way earlier or way later, or also like, yeah, I mean, I guess just way later is what I'm trying to say. So I don't know. Anyway, watched The Age of Innocence, which is my favorite Scorsese that I've seen so far. I mean, like, I definitely heard that it was among his best, so I wasn't necessarily surprised by the fact that I liked it. I guess the main, like, surprising thing about it is, like, the production design levels are, like, off the charts. Like, one of the best, not necessarily the best looking movie I've ever seen, because the cinematography isn't necessarily, like, top notch, although it is like very good still. But like the production design, the costuming, like the hair and makeup is like among the best of like anything I've ever seen ever. It's just like it, I don't know, it sings. It's great. Watched Mistress America. Honestly, like I guess I just like Baumbach at this point, so there's not really a lot to talk about here. It's
Speaking of that,
yes.
Sorry, Age of Innocence did win costume design at the Oscars in '94.
Right.
I
Yeah,
just
no,
decided
I
to look
did
it up
see
when you were mentioning all that.
Yeah, I mean, I looked it up too.
Didn't get nominated for hair and makeup, but
I don't think so.
I
but
feel like that might have got climbed into costume design at the time. Maybe.
Right. Or it was like, yeah, I don't think it existed. Or if it did, it was like one of those things where they nominated like 2 movies each year.
Either way, continue.
Anyway, yeah, so Mistress America, a little less, I mean, like, I guess I've seen Frances Ha and Lady Bird, which it's very similar to in a lot of ways. So I'm not sure if, like, I had seen it first, if I would have considered it better than those 2 movies if I had, like, seen them later. But either way, I ended up liking Mistress America, like, just slightly less than those 2 movies, but still, like, I don't know. Just, like, if you like Baumbach and Gerwig and their general style, you'll like it. If not, you won't. I don't really know. Not a lot to say there. Although, I guess it does have a lot more narrative propulsion and like plays with your perception of characters, and like that perception definitely changes over the course of the movie, whereas a lot of Baumbach movies are more just like, these are the characters and you're just going to watch them do, like, it's more just like slice of life. Like, there's not a lot of plot necessarily. It's more just stuff happens to these characters and they don't really change in any meaningful way, which is not exactly true for Mistress America. So I guess interesting to point out there. Then I watched Watchmen, and that's it.
Okie doke. So I'll go. Still going off this animated DC binge. I honestly
When's
don't.
it gonna stop?
If I'll ever finish it,
Dude. I mean, they're good. They're good. Yeah.
No, yeah. It's just like I get to the point where like I'm like, do I want to watch another one? And then I just say, nah, not right now. And then I just end up watching one per like week. So I feel like I need to watch at least like 2 or 3 per week now. But anyway, so I watched Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. This really is a DC. I mean, isn't V for Vendetta DC as well?
Yes, yeah. It's not DC, but it's like DC's like it was published by
like
DC.
The same thing that Watchmen is basically, because it was written by Alan Moore, and I think
yeah. It's like one of their. It's DC, but it's one of DC's like they have like Black Label now, which is what they put everything under.
I know
it's like whatever it was called. Yeah.
So I watched Justice League Flashpoint Paradox, and it was really good. Definitely one of the better ones of these DC animated films. Really enjoyed it. Be interesting to see how if they go this route, with the Flash film. After that, huh?
You they're not going to.
Well,
they're gonna fuck it. They're gonna change it like all over the place.
I have no problem if they change it to where it like benefits their own.
Yeah, me too.
Multiverse or whatever, but I mean, like I think we discussed earlier, it's tough to establish the Flashpoint story when you just have like one Flash movie. So I mean, we'll see. After that, I watched a 2018 short film, which I think won Best Live Action Feature at the Oscars, and was the only reason I wanted to say this was because it was called like one of the most controversial films of 2018. So I watched it, and it wasn't really good, but it was nowhere near as bad as lots of people said it was. Like if you look at the rating spread,
it's low.
I don't really understand. Like it deals with the race, which is obviously like always a hot topic, but I don't think it was executed. Like it could have been a lot cleaner, but it definitely wasn't horrible. Like a lot of people are like, oh, this is just racist propaganda. I'm like, no, it has something it's going for. It's just, so it's not very good, but it's definitely not horrible. After that, I watched this 2009 documentary called Cropsey. It just sounded kind of interesting, so I threw it on, and it was actually really good. It draws interesting parallels between like urban legend and weird stuff like that, but with like real life trauma and stuff that happens. So it was really interesting. It was about a child abductor back in like the 80s and how it grew into this urban legend sort of folk tale thing. And it was really interesting. After that, I rewatched Batman Begins, continuing my Christopher Nolan marathon. And honestly, I hadn't seen this in years, but it was pretty disappointing. I still like it, but I was a little disappointed with how not great it held up.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it, but I had some issues with it. And I think it just goes to show how far Nolan has come in his filmmaking and directing. Because this was like, looking back, this was his first big movie,
Yeah, and it goes to show. It goes to show with like the Inception featurette we saw, where he was talking about how he thinks that Inception has held up in 10 years really well, and like how confident he is in like his filmmaking now. Because I agree. Batman Begins has not held up as well as everything after that. Everything after that holds up very well, but sure, Batman Begins it's okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's just you can tell this was his first big blockbuster film. After that, I watched with Sebastian a little movie we found on Amazon Prime called Where Skeeto, Nazi Hunter. And oh my God, it was one of the most boring films I've ever watched. I felt horrible because we should watch this. This sounds fun.
Yeah, we're like looking through all these movies, and Colin's like, "This one sounds interesting." I'm like, "Sure, Colin, let's watch it." And me and him almost fell asleep.
Yeah, it was bad.
Colin literally was falling asleep. He literally was snoozing, like he kept sinking into the couch. And I'm like, Colin, you gotta watch this.
Fuck. What the fuck is this? Have you looked at the directors?
Yeah, we did. We were looking at it. Yeah. Oh his thing is he is making like 50s movies in modern day, and I mean when I get I'll just talk about it now so we don't have to talk about it later. But like I do admire it. Like he is doing his own thing, and I do admire like the style he's going for. Because I mean, me and Colin both agreed it did feel like a 50s movie. It really did feel like I was watching something from the 50s.
It felt like a 50s B monster movie.
Yeah, it literally exactly like that, and that's what he's trying to do. And I'm sure that's a niche for some people. They miss like Creature from the Black Lagoon, and they miss the Universal monsters. This guy's definitely doing that in the modern day, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that like that, but it's not for me.
It wasn't like incompetent filmmaking, but it was just really bad.
Yeah. But I think it was purposely bad, but I also couldn't tell. So if it was his intention to be purposely bad,
Colin, that's something that happens with you a lot, right? Where you're like, it's not bad filmmaking, but it's bad, right? Like Defy Bloods, Where'd You Go, Bernadette, like all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are like established directors too. So I mean,
those.
This guy, for this, it mainly came down to the script. The script was like just nothing, and then the acting was really bad. But whatever. Enough on Skeeto Nazi Hunter.
Yeah.
I rewatched The Prestige after that, and it still holds up. It's a phenomenal film. It's so many twists. The Prestige has to have like a record for most twists in a movie or something like that.
Shyamalan was put to shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. Great performances, great script, great filmmaking. It's like a magic trick. It's unfolding before your eyes. After that, rewatched Watchmen. We'll watch the director's cut for the first time. And then after that, rewatched The Dark Knight, which I don't think it used to be. Hold on. Okay, I'm there. We go. I used to think it was Nolan's best movie, but now I think it's not his best movie, but it's probably my favorite movie of his. I mean, it's great. There's nothing. Everything that's been said has already been said, so it's a really good movie. Then we went to watch Unhinged, first movie back in theaters, and I thought it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was
like there was some good about it. Like it was competently directed. The action and stunt work was actually really good, and there was some pretty good intensity. There was just one scene in the diner that I was like, whoa, okay, that was dark. But other than that, it was just like tonally a mess. Really,
right.
The ending was bad.
Well, I have to know, what was the Fortnite strategy? Please.
Okay.
Please tell me he got in a build battle with Russell Crowe at the end.
Sure. Okay, so massive spoilers ahead for Unhinged.
Massive.
In case anyone wants to watch it, since it's new.
Oh,
I feel like we got to give them the spoiler warning. So early on in the film, the main character is divorced, and her son is on the phone with his dad, and they're talking about Fortnite. And just to it's 2020, Fortnite.
Yeah.
And so he's talking down the phone, and after he hangs up, his mom's like, "Oh, what were you talking to Dad about?" And he's like, "Oh, I was just talking about my Fortnite plan. You wouldn't get it." And she's like, "No, you can tell me." And then, so he tells her about this Fortnite strategy he and his dad came up with. And my friend Chris, who also saw the movie with us, he leans over to me and he's like, "Dude, this Fortnite strategy is going to become integral to the plot later on." I was like, "Shut up." And boom, the finale, right when, Russell Crowe's coming after the mom and son, they're in their like most dire hour. The boy goes, "Hey Mom, remember that Fortnite strategy?" And she was like, "Oh yes, we could do that and defeat Russell Crowe." And yeah, they pull a Fortnite.
What was the strategy?
It was like a duo strategy. It was like a duo strategy, and he said something with like a shopping or it was like the ATVs.
A golf cart. There was a golf cart.
Yeah, the golf cart.
My God.
And I don't remember specifically, but it was a big plot point because they had to. They like, "Oh, you remember the Fortnite plot? The little thing we had at the beginning? Oh yeah, that's detrimental to the plot. That's how we defeat him."
That's so dumb.
I didn't understand what they were saying because I've never played Fortnite, so I didn't understand anything they were talking about. But then I was just like, okay, here we go, Fortnite plan. So yeah, Unhinged. And then after that, got to see Tenet, Inception in IMAX, which was awesome. I wish I had seen it back when it came out, but I got to see it this time, which was great.
Yeah.
And that's it. Really looking forward to Tenet, and I want to see the rest of the Nolan movies that are showing in theaters. So probably this week I'll go see Dark Knight again, Rises, and Interstellar.
Same here. Yep. All right, I'll get into it. I'll make it pretty quick. I start off this 2-ish weeks. I watched American Pickle starring Seth Rogen, and it was pretty bad. It started off actually kind of good, and it was like semi-serious, and then it just turned into a really bad Seth Rogen comedy that wasn't funny. And anyway, that's really all there is to say about it. Okay, moving on. I watched Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which I absolutely love. It's one of my guilty pleasures in a sense because it's not good, but I just adore it. It's very I don't know. I just really like it. There's really nothing else to say about it. I really do love it. It's just a guilty pleasure movie of mine. I watched Netflix's Project Power starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Mr. Jamie Foxx, and it was fucking awful. And no one should watch it. They wasted a really good concept. Apparently they were trying to make this movie for years, and they finally did make it, and it landed on Netflix, and they just wasted a really good idea with a shitty script and awful acting. So don't check that one out. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, by the way, is fine. It's like his first movie in a while. He's fine. Jimmy Fox is fine, but the script is awful, and there's a lot of character decisions that don't make any sense. So please stay far away from that movie. It's not good. I watched Where the Wild Things Are, directed by Spike Jonze. I keep having Spike Jonze just pop up all the time. This week I'm going to be watching the BC Boys story, which is also directed by Spike Jonze. He just keeps doing shit that I'm really interested in for some reason, so whatever. And I think it's great. It was a really good movie. I think the creature designs looked exactly like the book and played like the book. And I think it's great. It was my first time watching it since a kid, and I loved it. Thought it was great. Continuing my Nolan binge, I watched Memento, and Memento's great. Have nothing really bad to say about it. It's really thought-provoking, has great acting, has a great story, has a great fucking weird narrative that Nolan's pretty famous for, and it was great. And then we watched Where Skeeto. Don't really want to talk about that again. I watched Batman Begins, and I pretty much agree with Collin. It is not really held up as well. I would honestly argue that other Batman movies, especially Tim Burton's Batman, have held up better than this one, just because it's a good intro to Nolan's Batman, but I think the CGI and a lot of the action hasn't held up as well compared to other Nolan movies. It's not bad, but it's just not. It's definitely like bottom tier Nolan in my opinion. It's not my favorite. I watched Watchmen, then I watched The Prestige, and I basically, same thing Collin said, I think it's fantastic. The plot twists are great. The acting is fantastic. God, David Bowie is just so good in this movie. He really is. And Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale are just so great to watch, just play off each other on the screen. Then I watched Unhinged with Collin. Again, I liked it a little bit better than he did. I just thought the stunt work and practical effects were okay and good. I thought Russell Crowe was fine. Everything else was just okay. It's not the best movie I've ever seen. It's just not good either. It's just kind of in the middle. It's just not a movie I ever want to revisit, but it's fine. I watched Inception IMAX, and I honestly, this is trying back to what Thomas said earlier. I totally disagree with what Thomas said. I think this movie was better seeing it in IMAX. That for me personally, I've seen Inception. I think this is probably my third or fourth time. And the only thing I could really say, if I want to say anything negative about Inception, is that I wish that I hadn't seen the movie because I kind of know how it plays out for the most part. But I think it's a fucking masterpiece. I think the action is some of the best ever filmed. And they had a featurette with Nolan talking about how we think the film is held up, and it definitely has held up. I still can't understand how they did the fucking fight scene in the hallway shit. That shit is insane. It's mind-boggling, especially in the elevator. I don't even know how they did that. That elevator shit was weird. How did they roll up? I don't know. I don't want to know. It's movie magic, but just the plot is great. And I think that's why the Tenet reviews are also probably not good. It's because the general audience just can't fucking follow a Nolan film. They're like, oh, what's this? What's going on? Because Inception asks you. No, sorry. Inception is for the average movie viewer. That's just like, oh, this movie looks interesting. There must be a lot of action. It asks a lot of you pretty early on. My opinion.
Yeah, but Inception still has a 4.2 on Letterboxd, while Tenet has a 3.6. Well,
it's so early.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's so early. No. That's what I'm trying. No.
You're saying the average movie viewer. Well, I think someone
that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to say.
On
that's what I'm trying to tell you. Inception early on was critically panned. There was a lot of people that didn't like Inception. I remember when it came out and everyone shat on it. There was a whole bunch of people that didn't like it because they're like, this movie is just too insane and there's so many plot points and you have to follow along. And
those people are stupid then. It's not hard to follow at all.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I'm saying. And I feel like that might be why Tenet right now is just getting okay mixed reviews, is because it's a lot of people that just probably can't follow the movie. I haven't seen it. I will judge it, and I can come back next week and tell you if they were right or if if they were right. But I think that's what it is. I really can't see Nolan fucking up really bad. So, but you never know. I'll let you guys know, but I think that's what it is. I just think it's people that fucking can't follow a movie, but we'll see. I think Inception's a masterpiece. I think it's held up really well. I think it's definitely one of the best movies. I think probably if not, I think the best movie I've ever seen in the theater is Blade Runner. Both Blade Runners, but this definitely was probably the best movie I've ever seen in the theater. Honestly, it was stunning. It really blew me the fuck away. Anyway, and then I just watched Dark Knight Rises today, and to what me and Collin were talking about, because a lot of people don't like Dark Knight Rises. I honestly think it's still better than Batman Begins, and that's partially because of Nolan's crew that he's kind of gained over the years. Like, Nolan's cinematography, Nolan's action, Nolan's directing, they're all there in Dark Knight Rises, and the fucking intro scene of Dark Knight Rises is just, it's fucking awesome. It honestly is. It's toe-to-toe with the beginning of Dark Knight. Like, it's still fucking awesome. Having Bane fucking open up this plane and then drop it in air. It's fucking sick. It's so cool. Yeah. And then I like seeing Batman being broken and rising, as the whole point of the film is rising up. And, I do like it a lot more than Begins. I really, I don't understand why people don't like it. When I finished it, I was just like, I really don't see, like, why people don't like this. It's a good conclusion. It ends the trilogy really well. And everyone acts really well in it. I loved Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. She's probably my favorite Catwoman out of everybody. But,
between like Michelle Pfeiffer and Halle Berry, I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer is good.
Michelle Pfeiffer is good.
But I mean, it's just weird that you said out of every Catwoman when there's only really one contender.
I mean, there's still Catwoman, so she's my favorite. So again, I thought it was good. That's really all I watched this week.
Next week. So we're gonna move on to The Watchmen. Sebastian, this is your pick. Let us know why you picked it, what you like about it, what you don't.
I have been a DC Comics fan since a kid, and
since the beginning of time.
Basically, I've loved Batman since a kid, and then when I got older, I found Watchmen, the comic, at my library, and I read it, and I fucking loved it. It was, I was like maybe 13, 14. I just started getting the comics, and that comic blew me away because it has so much to fucking say in it. And I saw the movie, and honestly, I do really like the movie. I do, of course, I'm going to say the comic's better because it is, but Watchmen itself is like one of the most influential comics ever and will always be. And I do think the movie does a really good job of like kind of conveying the messages and the themes of Watchmen into more of a modern light, kind of, because one of the main differences that I know a lot of people don't like about the movie is how the big ending happens, because in the book, a giant squid attacks New York and kills everybody. And it makes sense in the terms of the comic, but what they did in the movie, it makes a lot more sense to me. And I kind of like that way better because it plays with the themes of war and human nature and stuff. And that's what I do enjoy a little bit better. I do like that ending better than the comic book, but again, two different things. But I'll go into like why I do really love Watchmen, the movie, Zack Snyder. Visuals, I think, are some of the best I've ever seen in any movie, and I'm not memeing. I think the cinematography is fucking beautiful. It is absolutely fucking gorgeous. There's some shots where I'm always left like just gasped, just jaw dropped, like fucking Night Owl dropping the button into the grave of the comedian falling out of the window. And I think that's why, another reason why I do like this movie, I think with Zack Snyder's slow-mo and crazy visuals, it works so well with Watchmen. Like in a lot of the scenes, I think the visuals are great, cinematography's great. I think the acting for the most part is pretty good. The only thing I could really complain about is like sometimes the script is a little weak when it comes to, acting, but that's not the actor's fault. I think everyone in the movie is really good. I really love Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the comedian. He's fucking great. He's fantastic. I have no problems with the acting. I think the acting all around is pretty great. Again, not off the top of my head, I forget the actor who played Dr. Manhattan, but he does a great job of being a fucking empathetic, unhumanic asshole. Really, so I love that. Yeah. And God, I'm gonna butcher his name. Jackie fucking whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
He's fucking spectacular. He encapsulates Rorschach so well. And Rorschach is like one of the standout characters of the graphic novel too, and I also think they did a really good job of showing that in the movie. I think the action's great. And again, if we want to get into nitpicks with why I don't think it's like a perfect movie, they kind of in the book, in the graphic novel, they are superheroes, but they're not superheroes. They're just regular people, kind of like Batman, that are just crime fighting and putting doing justice, but in a really bad sense of justice. They're fucking beating people up and doing a really awful way that compared to like Superman, all these people, like, because they don't really have supervillains they're fighting. They're fighting the American people. They're fighting like the people of America and stuff. So again, if I was really gonna like get into nitpicks, I would definitely say that they felt like superheroes in the movie, even though they're really not superheroes. The only one that is a superhero is Dr. Manhattan, and that's what draws him away from the rest of the Watchmen, because he's the only person with actual superhuman abilities in the whole thing. Because his character is just so complex and great, and he's a literal god. He's a god that was a human, and then because he is this superhero god, he's just lost all humanity. And I love how they show that in the movie. And, again, I think some of the CGI hasn't aged well. There's a lot of things I could really go into nitty-gritty, but when it comes down to it, I think the story of Watchmen, the acting, the cinematography, the direction, the soundtrack, it is all top-notch. And I would definitely put it right below Dark Knight for me personally. And I just can't get the intro out of my head. The intro is one of my it honestly is one of my favorite intros of all time. It literally shows you 40 years of story material in like 5-6 minutes, and you honestly, if you can just grab all of that and then just run with it, and then I don't really need to know that much about the past 40s of the Minutemen. It just kind of, I understand that with the intro. The intro does just a great job of introducing you to this fucking crazy world where Nixon has been president 3 times, and there's a nuclear war about to break out, and there's a man who's fucking blue whose dick is always out. I mean, it does a great job of just conveying everything in like 6 minutes. But
it does do a great job of establishing the characters and the world.
I just love the world building. The world building, honestly, Watchmen has just endless potential, and DC's kind of starting to realize that. They're starting to milk the fuck out of it.
Yeah, which is not a great sign.
Yeah, they as of recently, they did the Watchmen TV show, which I did like. I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't. I did. They're starting to just throw Watchmen in every single thing they can, and it is getting a little annoying because it's kind of ruining the essence of what Watchmen is. But I think it's great. So let's hear some other thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said, Sebastian. I obviously the opening scene and the opening credits are.
Yes, me too.
They do a great job of establishing the world, establishing the characters, establishing the past, just creating this all visual journey of what we need to know in order to get where we are. And I think the movie does a really good job at giving character to all the heroes and villains and characters in play, and establishing the world and all, except for one, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But some of the acting is a bit rough for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially some support. I think Patrick Wilson is a little iffy at times.
Yeah.
As well as Alan
Ackerman.
Yes. But the guy who plays Rorschach and Dr. Manhattan, I think, are definitely the standouts. And I think they're probably the most interesting characters out of the bunch as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Because of what you said, Sebastian, Dr. Manhattan losing his humanity when it comes to this godlike figure, it's insane, and it's a great character arc. And Rorschach, Watchmen's essentially told from his perspective. And I really like the ending. I think the ending has a lot to say when the journalist picks up his diary, because think of what could happen after that. And I think that's a really interesting question,
Yes.
Coming from Rorschach's perspective.
Yeah, and the show kind of, is the, I'm quoting, definite, conclusion to that, but, we won't go into the show, obviously. But
yeah, we won't, but that's one of the things that I really like a lot about the show, is how they kind of handle, Rorschach's implications specifically.
Okay, so the show,
we're not talking about that, though.
Well, just to, clarify, the show's, directly after this?
It's
2019, and this is in 1985.
Okay, so it takes a little while.
Yeah.
Okay,
but the show is based off the graphic novel. It's not based as a continuation of Zack Snyder's thing. But technically, but you know what I mean.
Right.
But the ending, the literal ending is exactly the same. The last scene
it is
the same. Gotcha. Obviously, A lot of, well, not a lot of other stuff differs. I don't know. I guess
then,
should I talk about it now?
Well, I just had a couple other things. The filmmaking, I think this is probably like, I mean, I haven't seen all of Zack Snyder's filmography, but I think this is definitely his most passionate of what I've seen. He definitely, this is an ambitious movie, like ridiculously ambitious. Yeah. They said the comic was unfilmable. So just to have the ambition to go out and do this is pretty admirable. And I think it's good. He knows how to use slow-mo, in my opinion. And the slow-mo never feels, I mean, it's definitely like stylistic to the nth degree, but I mean, I think it works here. And the cinematography is good. The editing I really like. And, it's good filmmaking. I like the use of music in there. And I just have a few, it's mainly the acting and dialogue that are drawbacks for me, as well as, I'll get to this after Thompson and Noah give their thoughts, but there's just one plot point in particular that I feel is like really lacking. So,
yeah, I mean, I guess I was mainly agreeing with like Collin's thoughts. Obviously, Dr. Manhattan's, in my opinion, Dr. Manhattan's like easily the best part of this movie, and it's like leagues ahead of anything else, like including Rorschach. Because even to me, Rorschach has some points where I'm like, I'm not in love with this, but Rorschach is, as a character, still like a really well-made character and really well-written. But I still definitely think that it falls into a lot of like kind of tropes that Zack Snyder has created for himself. Like with the thought, like there's like this really like powerful, like somber music over like the scene where the comedian and I literally finished the movie like minutes before we started podcast, and I'm forgetting names because my memory is terrible. We talked about this like last week. The owl dude, I'm forgetting. Like, Night Owl. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're like the comedian and Night Owl are having their exchange when the comedian is like kind of going in and like kind of terrorizing the riot and all that. And over it, it's like this sad, somber music, but like Zack Snyder decides to do a Dutch angle looking up to Night Owl, like just so he can like capture the ship behind him and like kind of like
I get it. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude, but that's one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie too. No, it's not the angle. I just love the context of like a lot of the flashbacks, specifically with the comedian. That's probably my favorite one, just because I think it's just so quotable. Because he's like, what happened to the American dream? I don't know. Sorry, that's
what you're saying too, Thomas. But I feel like the exaggerated style kind of works in context of what he's aiming for. I feel like that it kind of amps the comic bookish feel of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like this very much feels like a comic book.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe part of me just was hoping for something more like grounded, and like because I'd seen clips of this, I knew how it ended. But I just hadn't really watched it in full before. And I mean, I wasn't in love with it. I definitely think, like I said, Dr. Manhattan was really the driving force that really pushed me into really liking it. Well, not really liking it, but into just liking it. And one of my other things was there's a lot of parts of the score that just didn't feel fitting. Yeah, I'm glad you agree, Noah. I wrote down this note of basically Vangelis music over sad introspective monologue. And I'm forgetting what that is, but it just didn't work for me. And then
are you jabbing at Blade Runner right now?
No, I love the soundtrack for Vangelis. Like it's just something that sounds like the Blade Runner soundtrack in this, where I don't think it works in this, but I think it's amazing in Blade Runner.
I think it works here, and I do love the soundtrack to this movie as well. That's just me personally.
Like objectively, I think the soundtrack is good on its own, but
I agree.
Like, it's used like it's just like bizarre, like using Flight of the Bumblebee over like Dr. Manhattan invading Vietnam is just a bizarre choice that doesn't really work for me at all.
Oh, actually, that one actually works for me.
Sure, okay, but like the Sound of Silence, 99 Left Balloons, like I don't even.
Yeah. 99 Red Balloons over them walking into the restaurant. It's just like, what's the point of this? This is unnecessary to the nth degree. And there's also some points where I think the soundtrack does work for me. And like the same point where I'm like, it's this sad somber music over this monologue that just doesn't really feel like it fits. And then like literally the next scene, I remember like Dr. Manhattan monologuing. I think it was over Night Owl and terrible with names.
Silk Spectre.
Yeah, thank you. I literally like going to this new job. I'll be like on the register and someone will cashier for me. I'll forget their name like 5 minutes after they tell it to me.
Nice.
Or that, and like it really works there. Like just listening to over Dr. Manhattan's monologue, it's like great. And then it just so many times it doesn't work.
I see what you're saying. You know, it didn't really bother me in terms of like the soundtrack, but there were a couple moments that I felt were a little tonally off, and it mainly was humor, like a few odd moments of humor that I was like, was the joke appropriate right there? You know, or that just didn't.
Yeah. And Thomas, unless you had anything to say else.
No, I'm good. You can go.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's not like my biggest problem with the film.
It wasn't a big issue for me either.
Well, but it kind of ties into one of my bigger problems, which is a lot of the movie is just like directly ripping stuff from the comic. I guess ripping is maybe a little too intense for what I mean. I mean, it's just like taking stuff from the comic and just like directly like copy pasting it, like not changing the dialogue, not changing any really noticeable like thing within the frame, which I can see how that works for some people, but like, and it's definitely not like a criticism in and of itself, but I think like that combined with like sometimes tonally it feels off, combined with like you're taking a lot of stuff out like necessarily because it's a 12-issue comic, so obviously you can't fit everything even into like a 4-hour movie,
Right.
let alone like a 2.5-hour movie, which is the theatrical cut, or even like a 3-hour movie.
Or 3.5.
Well, yeah. But so I guess there's just like a lot of stuff that it's like it's not even necessarily it like doesn't make sense to me per se, because like I've read the comic, so I like even though I don't remember like everything about it, I know enough to like if something confuses me like plot wise, I kind of like remember like the backstory enough. But it's still just like it doesn't really like I don't know, this doesn't really like the film adaptation doesn't really add anything to my enjoyment of the comic, and it takes a lot away just by like again necessarily taking like literally like you just can't have every scene in there. And like the few changes that they do make, like notably the ending, I don't hate, especially like in theory, but like in practice, like the Dr. Manhattan as opposed to the Squid ending, it kind of takes a lot of time away from like the scientists, which you spend a lot more time with, like the scientists who design and it's not even clear really what they do in the movie, but like in the comic book obviously they have to like spoilers, but design like a squid, and like there's other stuff in there too, like they have to figure out like genetic engineering and like nuclear holocaust and stuff like that, and like you kind of get the toll that takes on them, and in this they're just kind of like in a scene and then they die, and it's like, oh
yeah, I get what you're seeing there, but like I don't, that didn't really bother me personally, because I kind of like I get what you're saying. Like I love the comic, I do, and I really do like what the movie's trying to do. And to me personally, I didn't find it an issue that they kind of ripped directly from the comic, because I kind of thought that was kind of the point of making a Watchmen movie, because they're not trying to just ruin Watchmen. Zack Snyder was trying to kind of like just take the comic and make it into a film. And the only thing he really changed was the ending, really. And I think the ending to me, with the theme of the movie, it worked better for me personally, just because I think that it was a smarter plan to just
it's definitely yes.
You know what I mean?
Like a better plan.
Yeah, that's what that's why I like, because with Ozymandias, like in the comic, like sure, with the comic and what everything that they did there, it makes sense. But like in the movie, I think it was a smarter villainous plan to like blame Dr. Manhattan for everything and get him to leave and get him to go to Mars. Basically, is a way better plan to blame it on him so that he can like basically fix humanity without anyone really knowing that he did it. Yeah. That's what I like it, you know.
And I feel like that's kind of like the gist of what you guys are saying is a big debate when it comes to any adaptation. It's either going to be too, what's the word I'm looking for?
Too different or too similar.
It's going to be too different or too similar, you know? Mm-hmm. You're going to have people that fall on either sides and can't agree.
Yeah, because either you're trying to...
And I completely understand both.
Mm-hmm. You're trying to like either fit an 800-page like book and like adapt that into a 2-hour movie, and you're like ripping off direct pieces of dialogue that might not make sense, or you're changing it so much where it doesn't have the same identity.
It loses a part of itself.
And another like huge problem that I have, which is again sort of related to everything that I've been talking about, is there's just like a lot of focus on Dan and Laurie, who are both, I think, probably like the weakest actors, at least of the main cast. and also are like not interesting even in the graphic novel. And I think like the graphic novel is kind of they're kind of interesting. They're not totally boring, but I don't really think they're three-dimensional in any way. And I think that's kind of the point of the graphic novel, is like everybody who would become a superhero is fucked up in their own way, and these people's like specific fucked upness is they are so boring and don't really have any humanity, but they're not like evil, they're just like so boring that they can't really focus on anything except for being superheroes. There's like different interpretations.
They still go through an arc though that I do enjoy though.
I mean, yes, like there is an arc present. I don't know. I don't love it though. And it's just like weird to have them basically be your, I mean, I guess C story maybe. I was going to say B story because Rorschach's is definitely most important. And then maybe like the Dr. Manhattan Ozymandias thing is your B story. But
yeah.
I don't know.
I guess that kind of ties into what my biggest issue was. I didn't dislike the stuff with Night Owl and Silk Spectre at all. But I think what I wanted more to understanding Ozymandias' plan. Because, of course, I haven't read the comic. So, but I had seen the theatrical. So I can't compare to the comic at all. But I just felt like by the end, we don't get enough. Like, we learn a lot about all the rest of the characters, but all I really know about Ozymandias is that he's rich and he's very smart. And then just kind of just thrown together, okay, he's the one doing it. And I feel like the reveal didn't have enough setup or enough hints to
right. No, that's another big problem of mine is like, I don't know, it's just very obvious to me, like, the second you see Ozymandias in the movie, like, he has, like, this weird Eurotrash accent, everything is gray around him, he's, like, in a really tall building, there are, like, blimps behind him. It just, like, feels very obviously setting him up as the villain, whereas the novel does, like, the exact opposite of that. In many ways, he's, like, supposed to be the only, like, good Watchman, at least, like, in 1985. He's the only one who really, like, isn't necessarily fucked up by it, and he's like very nice and philanthropic.
Yeah, you would never suspect him to be the villain.
Right, and not like weird. And there is like a lot more backstory to him and like how he changes from like the 70s into the 80s and how he like adapts a more public persona, whereas that's kind of like brushed over in this.
And that's kind of just what I would have wanted more of, you know?
Yeah.
I think the ending is really good. And I think what it has to say, like the overall plan and all, is crazy.
It's one of the best villain like plans I think ever in a movie. It's pretty. It might be. It's pretty great. I mean, like it's pretty genius. Like because you kind of like that's what I like about it. It's like you kind of empathize. Like before Infinity War, like I always would say like he's probably like I totally get like what everyone like, especially UConn. I get like why you don't like it, but like in terms of like villain plans and villains in movies, I think he's one of the best because Ozymandias he's not a bad like guy at all. He's literally
well, it's not that I don't like the plan.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like he's not a villain. Like his plan.
Well, no. I was making a bad guy like the song joke.
I didn't catch
it.
Yeah. I just said duh.
But like
I don't think Collin or I necessarily need more backstory to the plan itself. More just like why
why he became so
specifically
big.
More to his character specifically.
And why he would think that it's a good idea and why he would, pull it off.
He kind of explains it, but I get why. Again, that's another thing. Like I wish they would kind of because they brush over it because like in the comic there's like a huge arc with Ozymandias. Like every character in the comic gets an arc, and that's kind of what. He's the one that's kind of left out in the movie. Everyone gets one, kind of, except him. Yeah. He's just kind of there in the movie.
And that's what I felt when watching the movie. Yeah. Even with the director's cut, I felt like, okay, we get a lot from all the other characters, and I like how all of them wrap up. But I just feel like because Ozymandias is like so integral to the end, I was just like, I would have liked a little bit more to understand where he's coming from and all. And
it's a genius plan.
But that's it. I mean. I still think it's a really good movie. I just had the same issues that I had with the theatrical cut, essentially.
Yeah, director's cut just adds more, like, conversation and scenes. That's why I like it. Mm-hmm. It adds, like, a lot more, like, dialogue between characters and kind of, like, it completes a lot more arcs. Like, there's a lot more conversation with Night Owl and Silk Spectre, too. That's why I kind of like the director's cut better, just because they don't – All right.
Let me ask, was the scenes with the weird black and white gang, were those – excluded from the theatrical?
think so. What do you mean the black
Wait,
and
which
white
black
gang?
and white gang?
The black and white gang. I don't know. They look like KISS members.
Did they mug?
Are you? No,
They-
yeah, no.
they
That's
killed
in
a
the
night owl.
theatrical.
What they were? I didn't remember that.
Oh, it might have been, but I don't think it's like a huge part of the theatrical because I
No.
don't really remember it.
I was just trying to think when I was watching this what was added, and those scenes stuck out to me because I was like, I don't really remember those.
I think
No,
it's
they
longer.
are. They are.
I think it's
there's
longer
a
in the
couple.
director's style.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I love the Night Owl scene though when they beat him up though, the old Night Owl.
Yeah.
I love and kill him. That scene's pretty great though. I don't know. I like that scene too just because he has like the flashbacks to like his old prime dying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, there's a lot of shit that just
Living the
pleases
glory
me.
days.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. I thought that was nice, a nice little send off for the old Night Owl that's decrepit and dying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think there's a lot to like in the movie personally.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I think it does a really good job of kind of showcasing history from an alternate view as well. I find I don't know. I always find whenever history is altered in a fictional story kind of interesting. You know.
Yeah, I mean this is
like the comedian assassinating JFK. I was like,
oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's great.
They allude to that in the comic too.
Yeah.
Which honestly, like, this is so I have kind of been introducing each thing as like my one big problem. I think this is maybe my biggest problem. I don't know, maybe not, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I think by stripping out like just a lot of stuff, you kind of remove a lot of like the actual political messaging, and it certainly still is like a politically charged movie. I just think it comes off as a lot more like two-sided, whereas like maybe Adrian was right, maybe Rorschach was right, whereas Watchmen, the graphic novel, comes off as like these are all horrible, awful people and they all deserve like death. Like they're just like bad people. And I think Rorschach almost comes off as like a little anti-hero in the movie, whereas he's just like a straight-up villain in the novel.
He's a fucking asshole in the novel. They kind of showcase that in the movie, I think, pretty well. Yeah.
He's definitely like an asshole in the movie, but again, it's more of like an anti-hero thing where he's like a little bit sexist and maybe tough on crime.
He's homophobic too.
Right, but I think that a lot of that is in the director's cut also, which is kind of bizarre. And then, but like
really?
Also Adrian, I think so, because like I think. Like,
is there the quote? Do you remember the quote where he literally says? Because I know Collin might remember this. In
he
the
says like
cut,
Adrian.
He hates I hate homophobes. He literally says that.
Who?
Rorschach. He literally says
he hates
that.
homosexuals. That might have been in there. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they removed that. I didn't know if they removed that from.
I feel like there was a line. I do remember something.
I think.
They totally removed that from theatrical.
Okay, yeah, it's in the director's cut. Yeah.
But like, yeah, and I think. I don't know. I just think the novel comes off as more like tying like everything about Rorschach, like including like his stances on crime, like about his judge and executioner, like is inherently tied to his sexism and his homophobia and his racism. And in this, it's more kind of like those other things are like a side trait, but he's still like a quote unquote good person for like
I can see that.
becoming an executioner.
It does kind of paint his departure at the end as kind of noble in a sense,
which I think the novel actually does as well. I think like the biggest thing is like and this is a personal reading, honestly. Like I don't think this is what everyone gets away with it, but like the novel is very much about how like Rorschach is a bad person. He is a villain. He is awful, but in the end, he might have done one good thing. So does that make it worth it? And we don't even know if it's a good thing necessarily. And again, that's like more of a personal reading because it's very ambiguous. That's
what I got too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Rorschach's death is fucking. I mean, even in the movie, it really is great. Yes. It's fucking fantastic. It's like it is. Okay. I do love the comic again, but like I just see that's really why I do like the movie. I like seeing the comic just come to life, and I get if like for Noah or other people. That might not be their thing. Maybe they don't want it to be beat for beat. But like, I just like seeing the moments of the comic come to life, and especially with Rorschach's death scene. And he played it so fucking well. That's why it's so good.
Yes.
Like, oh man.
I am like glad this movie exists in a certain sense because there are definitely certain scenes that I'm like, this is pretty great, and it's like taking like a classic thing from the novel and it's like just doing it the same thing. That's great. But again. Like, just kind of like the whole thing I've been talking about. I think if you're going to do it beat for beat and you're going to take a lot of stuff out and only make like 2 real changes to the plot, like that just doesn't really work as a movie for me.
It's a ballsy movie.
Yeah,
it certainly is.
I mean, there are things I absolutely love about it, but then there are like it's definitely flawed in my opinion.
It is flawed. I never said it wasn't.
I definitely agree with
Well,
Collin on that.
yeah.
It's definitely a movie where you can love and hate quite a few things.
Yes.
I feel like it is one I'll definitely revisit, on the line.
I just think it's one of the best comic book movies ever made. I don't think anything will ever come close to being as good as Watchmen. There's so much like just shit in Watchmen, and just superhero movies just don't take the risks that Watchmen takes anymore. Watchmen was so ahead of its time in terms of superhero movies, even though it technically has been out longer than most superhero, like in general. But like, there's so much risks that like Watchmen does that. The only thing I would even remotely say comes close is The Boys. Like, there's so much shit that like that's in Watchmen that's just you're just like, how the fuck is this even in the movie? Like, or the comic? It's like what like. This is crazy, especially the comic. Like, again, I really do recommend everyone reads the comic at some point. It is my favorite comic of all time. It does that. Like, again, the comic is definitely better. I never said that, but like, I just love the movie. But like, the comic has so much to fucking say about politics and characters and the humanity and good and evil. Because the comic, everyone's a fucking piece of shit in the comic. Every single one of the characters is awful, and but like they're all in a sense kind of likable.
Yeah, it's more like you're following them, and no, I don't think it's necessarily likable as much as just like you're.
I mean, kind of like in quotes. I mean, they're kind of likable in terms of like they're cool or whatever.
I guess more like relatable, honestly.
Yeah, like Rorschach, I get like, whatever. Everyone gets the point. So, but yeah,
it's ambitious. It's admirable. It's pretty epic.
I think it's Zack Snyder's best movie. It's Zack Snyder's best movie. I've seen every single one. I've seen every Zack Snyder movie, including 300. I would say 300 is probably a close second, if I was to be honest, even though it's kind of stupid in a sense. But like, Watchmen is just. I really do got to give it to Zack. Zack did a fucking excellent job. I gotta say. I mean, he doesn't. And this is without telling Collin. Like, Zack Snyder honestly doesn't get enough credit in Hollywood. I honestly think he kind of deserves it, because I think what Zack does is pretty admirable. I think he honestly is a competent filmmaker, and people don't give him enough credit for that.
He just picks projects that are highly...
So, such as this project. Sebastian, what did you think of Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, but then I forgot.
I actually don't mind that movie.
It seems fine, honestly.
No,
I've only ever seen this, Man of Steel, and Batman v Superman. So.
300's pretty good too. I like 300.
I'd like to see 300.
300, if I remember correctly, the only reason I really don't like it is because they add fucking mythological beasts in it. And it kind of takes away from the point of like what 300 is, because 300 is essentially a real story, that has happened.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they added mythological beasts, and that's why I haven't rewatched it, because I thought it was so fucking stupid. So, but anyway,
do we want to go around?
Yeah. Let's go around.
Sebastian, you can start it off.
It's a 4.5 for me.
So 9 out of 10?
10. I'm going to give it a 7.
I'll go...
okay.
Oh, I'll go 6.
And I'll go 5. Honestly, it might be higher if I hadn't read the comic, but whatever.
So that's a 6.75 out of 10.
It's not awful.
Not bad. Not bad.
That's pretty good.
Better than the last few since we started doing this.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah. Well, better than all of them since we started doing this, since we started with Anomalisa.
Right. And whose pick is it this week?
It's Noah's.
Oh, God.
Noah's.
Oh, great. I totally
put you on the spot.
Yeah, I was going to pick
on the spot.
Oh, my God.
No, you got to go fast.
Well, I have 5 minutes. Because I had something from the last time I picked, but I just don't want to pick it because it would be another George Clooney movie, but I might do it.
George Clooney.
Since I have to go fast, I might just pick something that is on my watch list that I haven't seen yet. So let me see if I can find one of those. I might not be able to.
Man, it's honestly a pretty good way, because I guarantee none of us have seen it.
Yeah.
What? Oh, Noah's watch list?
No, I mean, like, if he just picks something random he hasn't seen, I guarantee you probably haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's probably a chance.
Well, something on my watch list right now. I don't know. Okay, I do have something right now, but let me just see if it's available, and also I might not pick it anyway. Okay, it's available to rent. That's not great. I mean, that's fine, obviously. Better than not being available to rent.
Were you going to say something, Thomas?
No, I'm good.
No? Okay.
While Noah looks for his pick, I do want to mention the fourth Everyone go please stream Feels Good Man, the new Pepe the Frog documentary. Apparently that is actually like one of the best movies of the year, and I will be streaming that. I'll also be reviewing that when I do get my hands on it. I'm very fucking excited for it.
Where's it streaming?
I'm gonna rent it. Like I'm actually gonna like put money into it. Like I don't really. It'll probably go on Amazon. I'm renting it.
All right. Hold on. Let me just look up one more movie. But then
just wanted to plug that real quick because I
heard it's good. I heard
it's really good.
It's pretty banging.
Your movie sucks gave it 8 out of 10.
Oh, it's really good for YMS.
Yeah, YMS gave it 8 out of 10. He said it was fucking. He said it's his favorite movie of the year.
Didn't you watch? No, okay, you haven't watched Old Joy yet. You'd love Old Joy, Noah. You should watch Old Joy. It's only an hour or two.
Okay, you know what? That's a sign.
Wait,
so
no.
movie,
no, I've seen it. I've seen it.
No, it's not Old Joy. The movie I was thinking about picking. Hold on, let me just check this one. Okay, whatever. The movie I was thinking about picking this week. Yes. Was Night Moves, starring Jesse Eisenberg and some other people that I'm forgetting, but Jesse Eisenberg is on the poster. Or at least the most visible person on the poster.
Dakota Fanning and Peter Sarsgaard.
Okay, thank you.
Wait.
You said Jesse Eisenberg, and I'm sold. So.
Yeah. Okay, so it's only available to rent, which is kind of unfortunate, but whatever. It's from like 6 years ago, and it is under 2 hours, but like barely. So it's not that short. Anyway. Looking forward to it next week. Nightmare.
Have you seen it?
No, Noah hasn't. This is a watch list here.
Who has seen it?
No one. It's Kelly Reichardt.
I've seen a Kelly Reichardt movie.
Which one did you watch?
I saw Meek's Cutoff and Film Clubs.
You didn't like it?
I hated it. Oh my god.
You probably don't like Night Moves, honestly.
So boring.
Yeah. I mean,
I heard she makes slow movies. And
she makes
slow was like 80 minutes movies. And I was like dying, so
yeah.
I'm gonna go in open.
Yeah, I liked First Cow. Didn't really love Old Joy, but I'll see how much I like this one.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited. That cast sounds pretty good. So I mean, we'll see. I'm excited actually to watch this.
Out of all of her movies I've heard about, that one definitely sounded the most interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Surprised this isn't on my watch list.
Well,
it is now.
So I guess that'll wrap up.
I'm not going to put it on my watch list just because you said that, Noah.
Well, okay,
I'll watch it.
Yes.
But it's not on my watch list.
Okay, it is not on your Letterboxd watch list, but you are... Okay, whatever, Thomas. Anyway.
All right.
This will wrap up the 19th episode, the most heated, debatable episode of Pro Podcast.
Shots left and right.
The DC extravaganza.
Yeah, DC extravaganza.
Yeah.
Next week we're going to be reviewing Night Moves. That'll be episode 20. 20 episodes of the Pro Podcast.
We've made it this far, boys.
That's right. We will see you then.